SLY. So hopefully for the side of Team GG, that's something that they worked on in these past week or two, because if not, like there was very, very sloppy shot calling, very, very sloppy decision making around the Dragons specifically.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they've improved as well in terms of draft, because game one of their play-in match, they drafted things like the Ozo, and it kind of, their whole composition didn't quite fit together that well, and it, you know, they ended up losing that game. So I'm curious how they're going to approach game one of this series, especially against a higher profile team like SLY, that you know SLY are going to draft well. You know for a fact that's going to be happening. They're actually going to start things off banning away Flicker. So Flicker definitely a pick that has been a lot more prevalent in the, especially this weekend. We saw it sneaking through. We saw it in X Scoundrels tournament, but now it seems to have become a staple pick, if not banned.
Yeah, it's getting banned pretty frequently, right up there with the Fortress. I mean, Fortress has pretty much been 100% ban rate for the most part. It's like, it's over 90% for sure, but it is very few times has Fortress gotten through the bans. I'm curious to see what they're going to go with as a prioritization for this first pick, because we're seeing the Ozo be hovered, but you know, I want to also talk about the fact that we mentioned Sneaky and how he's going to be a cornerstone of this team now. You know, back in 3v3, his emphasis was on the Black Feather. That was one of his most signature picks. I don't know if that's going to continue to be the case here. His Black Feather Kestrel were his top two in 3v3, so now in 5v5 though, it's a completely different animal.
Grumpjaw is going to be locked in though for Team GG, which Grumpjaw right now is incredibly strong. The buff to his living armor certainly did him a lot of work, but you can do a lot of damage without really having to build towards it. So if you can use that effectively, he can be an incredibly strong tool for initiating those fights and then also removing an opponent from them. So if used effectively, Grumpjaw can take over a game.
Yeah, especially early to mid game. That's where Grumpjaw really excels right now. And so you can get a little bit of an early game advantage with him, and then use that lead that you've built up with Grumpjaw to then have one of your other heroes and other players excel once you get into the late game. So it's a balancing act of, you don't want to put everything into the early game basket, because then if you don't close out the game extremely early, you're left with a late game that is very lackluster. So Grumpjaw, a lot of people are liking him because of the ability to set up later game plays.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to see the Sky, I assume, weapon power locked in there along with a Lorelei. So I like the composition from SLY so far. Very safe picks. Nothing that's really going to give away the game plan right now. Everything is pretty tame in terms of those picks. Tony and Grumpjaw on the side of Team GG, and now they kind of have to tell SLY where they're going with this draft. They're hovering the Vox. We are going to be able to get that draft reset. Somebody didn't quite lock in time there. All of the picks that have been locked in will be reset exactly the same as they were. We'll be able to continue with the draft. But I'm curious to see where they go with this one, because, you know, we saw SLY hovering the Ozo at the start of that draft. I feel like that was a nod to Team GG's loss in the first week, honestly.
It very well could be, but I mean, Ozo is one of those picks that, like, when it does well, it can actually do extremely well. It's just so difficult to set it up to do really well.
Humanist. I'm not even going to go into that whole can of worms. But, you know, Kestrel, Moline, both still open for them. These are picks that have worked for them in the past, something that they can lean on if they need to. But honestly, I think push the boat out here. Go for something. Like, the Kestrel is not that meta right now. But if you are confident on it, go for that pick. I want to see Mason playing that Kestrel, just because we need to have some star power in Team GG's roster. If they're going to beat SLY here, they have to come out swinging. So go for those comfort picks. Go for something that you can make flashy plays on and outplay the players of SLY.
Yeah, I mean, that's much easier said than done, to be fair, but you have to set yourself up with the best opportunity to do so. And that's one of the things that we talk about a lot, is just, you know, we try and say, what is the way to win if they are going to? Like, and it's not necessarily that we're expecting Team GG to be able to win just because they get a Kestrel or things like that, but that's their best opportunity to do so. And you have to kind of bring your A game if you're going to try and beat them. And your A game may not be up to snuff with another team's A game, but there's always the chance that SLY isn't bringing their A game today. I mean, you never know what could happen, but you need to be set up in your best possible scenario.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind, Keanu Nakoa is not playing with SLY. I'm not saying that doesn't mean SLY aren't favorites. SLY is still pretty heavy favorites in this one, but without Keanu Nakoa, things do change up a little bit. I'm curious to see how the in-game dynamic is going to look, how coordinated they're going to look, because Keanu Nakoa is always this player that's known for being very smart in the game. So without that guidance, we'll have to see. Reza is going to be locked in here. It's not going to go to Reza VG. We saw this last week. He is going to play captain. Oh, I assume he's still going to play captain. Maybe they changed it up coming into this one, but I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. Vox as well going to be locked in as well. So honestly, I'm actually liking the draft from TGG. I was criticizing the draft coming in. So far, it is actually looking very good for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a lack of kind of defense and really that hard carry as well. So it's going to be a tough spot that they're in for this final pick.
Reza can carry pretty hard.
If he gets going, but there's nothing to protect Reza at this point. You don't have something like the Arden to provide the barriers. You don't have the Lorelei to provide a Wonder Ball. You don't have a Grace yet. It was something that they could lock in. Koshka gonna come out.
First Koshka of the regular season. This was dominant way back when 5v5 first came out. It was honestly just completely broken for a while. We are going to see it locked in here. I'm not sure how this is going to do because it's something that got nerfed pretty heavily, honestly.
It did, and I'm looking at this last hover, and it is going to be Maline locked in, and I'm very worried now for this composition that they put together on the side of Team GG because, again, your only protection is Grumpjaw and Tony. That's not going to keep a carry safe.
I mean, it's all about snowball, right? It's win lane, win game with this kind of composition when you don't have a big beefy front line. But against a Koshka with all squishy characters, you have to kind of worry about that situation.
Yeah, and again,
I would have looked at like a Finn last pick or something like that.
Yes, you need something to keep those carries live because, like you were saying, Reza can be your hard carry, but Reza jumps in with this composition, he just gets blown up and nothing happens. Like there's not an opportunity for this Reza to dive in unless he's joining a fight late, which you're basically committing to starting 4v5s all the time. I'm not very confident in this draft that they put together, and this really should be a game that SLY should take very commandingly.
Yeah, I mean, SLY is the favorite on paper. I think definitely, I like the Samuel pick from SLY as well. I think it fits very well with the Lorelei and the Arden, but it's about time that we see how well it's going to be doing. It's time to jump onto Sovereign's Rise for game number 1 of the day. It's time to head into our final round of 16 matches coming on up. It's SLY up against Team GG.
Welcome back to the European VPL. It is Dalsy and FlashX bringing the action here. Jump into game 1 of the evening. SLY up against this Team GG, and FlashX, how you feeling?
Dowsy, how's it going, my man? Definitely another huge honor and unexpected surprise to have you on the desk. Very, very excited for it. Definitely some great matchups right here. SLY, I definitely think the favorites. A lot of these guys have been around the block. They have a lot of experience. They're familiar with playing with each other to an extent. In Europe, a little bit slower of an early game start than what we're used to. Some nice counter invading by both teams. But yesterday, I'm not sure if you were able to catch those matches. There were a lot of kills going over in these first minute to 2 minutes of these games.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see which team is able to find that early aggression. So far in this early game, SLY picking up the more advantageous invade. Sneaky was able to secure his double bears, whereas for SLY, they weren't able to. So already gold and experience swinging over to them. And with a Koshka early game, you have to anticipate that potentially Solicitude can do some work.
Yeah, Solicitude definitely going to be looking to get aggressive. Koshka, though, not a hero that we have seen very much in competitive play in actually quite some time. He's going to get deleted, though.
I mean, I don't even know what to say there, FlashX. Don't mess around when there's a Maline in your lane. It's just simple Vainglory premise. She does damage.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a questionable play there. SLY, I'm having some trouble understanding what they're doing. Is this a Koshka in the mid lane?
It seems like it. Safantu's down bot hard pushing. Seems like they want to put pressure down onto Iron Power in the bot lane. But Koshka doesn't really do too well into range. She kind of doesn't want to, you know, be farming against a Maline, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Solicitude
absolutely.
Gonna be trying to find some damage though onto Drax Mage. It does seem like he's sitting there. So yeah, this is Koshka mid.
Definitely something that we have not seen played really at all in 5v5. Sly either trying to break the meta or feeling very confident going up against this team. GG. I think Solicitude wishes he could have that first death back, but it is what it is. The gold is still very, very even. Sly actually has a very, very slight advantage. Both teams very aware of these jungle camp respawn timers and positioning accordingly.
Yeah, it looks like for Team GG, they're making sure they don't lose out on any gold or experience. But again, it is Sly coming out better. They get the double bears on the side of Team GG, and Sneaky once more in that top side for Sly, able to secure the double bears for himself, maintaining that gold advantage, which is so important when you're in a 1 versus 2 lane.
Absolutely. And playing Koshka in this mid lane, Solicitude almost picking up a kill there.
Reza GG goes in. They might look to turn this around. There's the stun. Reza GG has to be a little bit careful. We'll pop that flask to make sure he's nice and safe.
I guess I could potentially see a mid lane Koshka being a little bit more successful against some of our more immobile mages like Celeste or Scarf, but Maline, one of those mid lane mages that I think is actually going to do very well against Koshka. She can use that invulnerability to get out of her way. She has the barrier, she has the root, just a lot of tools in Maline's kit to be able to kite the Koshka backwards. And I think it's questionable to really just figure out how effective this Koshka in mid is really going to be.
Yeah, it's very, very strange to see a Koshka in the mid lane. Solicitude essentially will be giving up the map pressure that mid laners can kind of have. But when you actually look at gold, experience, all that, Liner's not doing a very good job. Yeah, he got that first blood, he got the kill, but he's not really keeping up with the experience game. Solicitude is kind of dominating there.
Not just experience, CS as well. Solicitude almost double that of Liner. You need to make sure that you're playing your position as efficiently and effectively as possible. CS, a very, very important mechanic to be able to make sure you're maximizing the amount of gold that you're able to accumulate on the map.
Fight over this Crystal Treant. On the side of Sly, it looks like Team GG will contest it, but it's secured by Solicitude. Diving onto Liner, the damage on this Koshka, unreal, and we'll find a kill before backing away. Sneaky Mr. Tanky looking for one of his own, will get it, and that's Dracmage down for the double. Only Mason left alive. This went horribly for Team GG.
Definitely exactly what Sly needs here. They have a very strong early game composition in both the Koshka and the Samuel heroes that you really need to make sure you're capitalizing on these early game engagements. They do exactly that. I think that if you are Sly, you do have to be very careful about allowing Team GG to scale too much into this late game, because a late game Vox and Maline can be absolutely lethal.
So I have a theory here, FlashX, and this is always fun when play-by-plays come up with great analytical theories, because oftentimes they're crazy and unreal. But we'll talk about it in seconds because Liner is in trouble. Ooh, I was wondering if Solicitude would tower dive here. Maybe Sly have put this Koshka in the mid lane because what you really want to secure your own Crystal Treant is the jungling prowess of a melee hero who can jungle like a Koshka. And then you put your mid laner down bot and you just dominate the jungle. Oh my goodness, look at that damage coming out already. Very strange composition. That's really all we know. But so far so good. They've got a huge gold lead.
Absolutely. I mean, they're making it work for sure. A level 7 on Solicitude. He's out leveling everyone on the side of Team GG. He wants more though.
Yeah, going in, and that's just CC lock for days. Good night, Vox. See you in the next life. Dracmage will be fairly safe under his turret. When we talk about turrets, already one secured for the side of Team Sly as Krax picks up the bot lane.
Yeah, Safantu doing a phenomenal job rotating across this map.
Krax 1v2? There's no way he gets out of this alive, but maybe he picks up a kill. That's going to be the Grumstraw ult. Letting those cooldowns resets. Krax pops the boots and gets out of dodge. The slowdown from Moran will pick up the kill. They trade one back. I said Reza would be safe under the turret. He wasn't. Just dies. Dracmage not able to escape Samuel.
some great back and forth. Like I was saying, Safantu doing a great job. He was in that bot lane for quite amount of time. He's up in top now, though, putting so
Holy
much
moly.
pressure.
That's just Jesus. The damage coming out of Safantu here with just that Spellfire and Sneaky. I'm not quite sure what that was. I think he just wanted to say, hey, look, Team G, we don't even need our ultimates. And we're taking your weapon Trian as well.
I think it might have been a misclick. I saw the scout cam come out shortly afterwards. I've definitely done that myself, the scout cam being right next to your ultimate ability. But yeah, I bet he wishes he could have that gauntlet back right about now.
Would have been helpful. Potentially they could have turned whilst trying to secure that gold oak for themselves. 8 minutes in here, Flash. A 6,000 gold lead for SLY, and there's no slowing them.
Yeah, they got to be feeling really, really good about it. These early game heroes pressing their strength to their advantage. Safantu in a 2 versus 4.
Yeah, Safantu is. But look at that. So much damage coming out from this side of SLY. They just continue to lay down the hurt. And it doesn't feel like there's anything Team GG can do. They want to find at least 1 kill here. But look at Solicitude. He just deletes the Million from the map. And he wants to get a double. Is going to be secured for the side of SLY. And now with Grumpjaw going down, just narrowly missing the ace timing. But 5 kills to SLY.
Yeah, they're feeling themselves. They're in their rhythm. They're all operating on the same page. No Ghostwing captures yet, though. I would really like to see when teams get this far ahead, just group up, secure Ghostwing. You can continue to just extend your lead over your opposing teams. They're kind of rotating in that direction, so maybe they will do that. I definitely know that they're going to want to contest Team GG for this Crystal Treant that's about to spawn. But making sure you're still continuing and extending your lead by pressuring these objectives, very critical for SLY.
The Solicitude just diving on in, deleting people as he goes. 2 kills again over to Team SLY. It just feels like clockwork at this point. Draxmage trying to go aggressive. Safantu happy to just sit in this drifting dark and do the deeps. The rest of the team come out to try and support. Mason may be in trouble here as Crack's laying down the hurt. The Lorelei pool slows him down, but it looks like he may have just escaped. Draxmage, not so sure about him, but he has a flask, so he's all right for now. SLY, they want to take down this tier 2 mid lane turret. They need to make sure that they don't overextend here, as Sneaky, still very tanky, just deletes the Reza from the map. And now Nomad Vagabond will get him out of town as well. It's kind of disgusting how much damage SLY have to them.
Sneaky doesn't even have any true damage items. Those were he is the banner. That's really it. Vagabond.
I mean, they got one, but Solicitude will trade it back. He looks for more. I mean, can Solicitude just 1v5 at this point? Question mark. Maysam. Where did you go? Reza VG has to use the bada boom to escape. Solicitude, I mean, either he's a big fat troll. He did want me to tell everyone that he's a god, by the way, before this game started. Currently 9-1-5 and no sign of slowing down on this Koshka mid.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a fan of off-meta picks too often, but Solicitude putting this mid-lane Koshka to work. Really, really clean gameplay. Maybe it's just mechanics disparity. You don't really know. Cracks, though, getting engaged upon in this bottom side jungle.
I mean, it's not Cracks trapped in with them. It's them trapped in with Cracks as he finds up a kill here. Safantu firing out so much damage. Cracks does take a bit of damage because he gets rooted underneath the turret there. But at this point, it doesn't even matter. With 12,000 gold in the lead, Safantu on this Samuel is just basically one-shotting people with every Malice and Verdict he throws out. And Koshka can one-shot you as well.
Yeah, Solicitude, outstanding job sitting 9-1-5. He still has double the CS of his mid lane counterpart there on Liner. He's an entire tier 3 item ahead. He just picked up the level 12 infusion. He's gonna want to go in on this top lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And here he goes. Finds the first kill. Onto the Reza. Looking for the second. Looking for the third. I mean, normally this is like super hype, exciting gameplay, but we've seen Solicitude do this pretty much every time he jumps onto an opponent.
That burst damage is crazy. Not only are you getting huge base damage out of the Pouncy Fun and the Twirly Death, but the Aftershock burst damage paired with both the Broken Myth and the Spellfire, he is deleting these targets. If I was on Team GG, you need to try and pick up Slumbering Husk as soon as possible, because that burst damage, they are not going to be able to deal with it until they have that item in their inventory. But they're so far behind at this point that I don't know that there's even that much they can do. SLY has the Ghost Wing buff. They've released Black Claw. They are going to be looking to close out the game right here.
Here comes SLY's finishing move. We'll have to see if it's successful. Solicitude dives in 1v5. And that's going to be the kill going to Sneaky. Jumping forward. They're going to find more. Here's the second. Looking for a third onto that Resser. And he gets it. Liner can't run fast enough from this Samuel as the ace comes through. Team GG, well, they'll be typing it in chat because here comes the Black Claw down the mid lane.
That's going to wrap things up for game number 1. SLY started off a little bit slow with Solicitude's quick death in the mid lane. Very, very quickly turn things around, turn things on, turn them up. They've got to be feeling really good with the momentum going into game number 2.
Absolutely insane game from the side of SLY. And the early game rotations just slightly better. It get them the advantage, and then as soon as that Koshka gets that aftershock, she actually can contest in a 3 versus 4 against the invades coming through. You are the side of Team GG where you're in a hard spot because you don't know whether or not it's a mechanical difference here, or if it's a draft, if it's rotation. It's probably just everything. Regardless, that's going to be 1-0 to SLY, and let's throw it back to the desk.
Well, Keanu Nakoa subbed out, Solicitude subbed in, and then hard carried, absolutely destroyed this game on Koshka.
Yeah, I mean, Koshka's B ability is called Twirly Death. There was a lot of Twirly Death delivered that game.
Yeah.
My goodness, this Koshka absolutely out of nowhere too. Like, no one has played Koshka yet.
Nobody's playing it, nobody's talking about it, and then suddenly he just charges around. I mean, the fact that he died first as well, started things off by just
like,
dying
okay, maybe
mid.
this is a little shaky. Like, dies mid right off the bat, and then
just starts the ball rolling somehow, gets a couple of kills early, and then just, I mean, by like 10 minutes, he was 2-shotting, 3-shotting these carries. Like, there's nothing you can do when Koshka gets that far ahead. Let's take a look at our bracket at the end of this one. That's just game 1 in this series. But let's remember that these guys are playing to try and get on into the quarterfinals. SLY 1-0 up against Team GG. And later on, we're going to be seeing Fiery Tail up against Shiny Sheeps. That will be the winner's next opponent. The winner right now, looking like it might just be SLY.
Yeah, I mean, we expected SLY to come in and take this series. They were the favorite. Team GG, again, I'm not going to beat around the bush much. They didn't look very good in their play-in win, but SLY absolutely dominated.
Speaking of the play-in win, we can take a look at some of the good moments from their victory against Notorious Triad. In a Rockstar Rewind here, they definitely, while they weren't the most coordinated teams, when they did manage to win out these fights, they managed to win the fights convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there were positive moments in these fights, but it was they had to get these engagements almost perfectly, and that just didn't happen all that frequently. But when they did get them, they were able to absolutely steamroll over these fights. But again, didn't happen here against SLY. It was SLY were the ones that were getting the engagements when they wanted, how they wanted, and absolutely controlled that game.
Yeah, and honestly, the biggest thing for me in terms of Team GG was we need to see these guys just play it a little bit safer in the early game. They were trying to go toe-to-toe with SLY. They were trying to fight against an early game Koshka, which, Koshka, especially once you get a couple of kills, you're not going to be able to beat that in early skirmishes. So just like, you got Mason, you got Aina, who both have shown that they can carry games. But you have to set them up for that. You have to play it a little bit slower to start things off, and you have to allow them time to get some items and get in a position where they can carry. And also, draft for this. Give them some early picks so that they can try and take over the game. We'll see how the draft is going to go. It's going to be Kensei to start things off.
Yeah, again, not surprising to see Kensei taken off the board. Kinetic is also expected to be banned out in that case, because you don't want to give that over. Although, if you're SLY, I think you're a little bit more willing to give over some power picks if it means that you're going to get what you want as well.
Through.
Yeah.
We'll see. What they're going to go ahead and ban on this side. Team GG, obviously first pick this time around, so does change your ban strategy slightly. I'd like to see them ban something. Maybe go for one of the power picks, maybe ban Reza and then pick up something like a Fortress.
Or do you even just ban the Koshka here because it did so good against you? It's not going to be the call, which means it could be a possible pick again for the side of SLY.
I think there are much stronger picks right now. I think that was just SLY
there
dominating
are,
with that specific
But at the
pick.
same time, like, if that's a pick that you can't deal with, if you're not going to be able to deal with this Koshka, and they're just going to pick it up and dominate with Koshka again,
I agree with what you're saying, but I feel like Solicitude would have dominated on other picks too. I don't think it was Koshka specific domination. I think it was just Solicitude domination.
I mean, yeah, but again, it's one of those situations where you have to kind of figure out what is going to be your biggest difficulty to deal with. You know, a lot of players haven't dealt with this Koshka in a long time, and maybe that level of burst is just something they weren't ready for. Obviously, you know, the draft has continued on. It's going to be the Arden first pick. You know, going for that safe first pick. I do like that they got themselves an actual dedicated captain this time around, because, you know, while yes, Tony can be built as a dedicated captain and has been getting built as a dedicated captain, again, they're a team that when they do win, it's because they're engaging the fights. And there wasn't a way for anyone to follow up or protect a carry that was trying to engage.
We said that we needed more early game presence from Team GG, and they've locked in the Churnwalker. For those of you guys at home that don't know, Churnwalker, one of the strongest captains at level 1 specifically because of the shared damage, because of the sustain he offers. You could definitely have a big impact on the game at low levels on Churnwalker, so I'm excited to see if they can use this effectively. Also, the Maleen locked in. We saw Ina do exceptionally well on Maleen back in week 1. I mean, yeah, that's very true. So they are setting themselves up for success here. The composition makes sense so far. On the other side, though, we do have a flicker for SLY, which means, you know, very strong hard engage, very difficult to predict how this team is going to play when you can't actually see where they are.
Yeah, they've got the triple captain composition going on right now. All three of those heroes can play in the captain role or can go for a little bit more damage oriented. I would expect to see the Lorelei and the Adagio here be a little bit more damage focused. Maybe not so much the Adagio. The Adagio is a lot of teams are kind of playing him more as a captain, but we have seen it flexed as a crystal carry. We have seen it as a weapon carry as well. So that one's a little bit more up in the air, but the Lorelei I would expect to be a crystal carry for the side of SLY.
Yeah, we'll see how they choose to continue this draft. Obviously got a Vox locked in, but at this point, the last pick for SLY is very much, they can choose what direction they want to go in. I'd love to see them pick up something tanky though, honestly, because like maybe something, I mean, Tony's already locked in, but you know, Grumpjaw's still on the table. That could be something that's very good for them. We're going to see Tony locked in on the side of Team GG, and it looks like they're going to round things out here with a Gwen. This is a much nicer composition from Team GG. We said this in their week 1 game. Draft number 1, not very strong. Draft 2 and 3, fantastic stuff. Same consistent theme coming through here, Team GG. It meant that they won the last 2 games last time around. We'll see if this gives them a better opportunity.
I was going to say, that's the difficulties now if they can get to a game number 3 to keep that trend going. But you know, with now the Scarf being picked up as the final pick here for the side of SLY, you know, you've got a good amount of damage, but not really any of that tankiness. So that's one of the only concerns that I would have with the SLY composition, but there's not a lot of burst aside from the Maleen.
One big thing though, on the side of SLY's composition, they've got a Vox coming on in who's going to ramp up a lot throughout the fight. And we're going to see basically, they want long, extended fights. They want to be able to stack breaking points, stack Dragon's Eyes. They want to be able to just draw this out because they have sustain as well. They've got the Water Wall from Lorelei. They've got the heals from Adagio. And then they have Flicker as well to disengage if necessary, or to just force the situation, get a pick, and start that fight rolling. So definitely not the easiest composition to pull off, honestly, being able to extend a fight and just kind of stay on the border of hard engage and being able to escape.
But the thing is, the composition they're up against is 3 heavy, tanky, beefy heroes, which lends itself to longer, drawn-out fights. So I actually really like the way that SLY answered the draft from Team GG.
We'll have to see if it's going to work for them. Team GG's last opportunity here in the VPL. It's time to pass it over to our casters. We've got Flash X, guest starring Dowsy this week as well. Take it
Alrighty, we're back for game 2 here of Team GG versus SLY. Flashchecks, it was a domination in game 1. We'll have to see if GG can turn it back.
GG needs to step it up big time. A little bit of damage exchange back and forth down on the bottom side. Liner is back again on this Maline in the mid game. He in particular, I really think needs to step it up this game and have a much larger impact. But looking at these two drafts, I really like what SLY has going on. You saw Team GG pick up the Churnwalker. SLY recognizes that. They said, okay, you have Churnwalker. Yeah, we're going to draft 4 ranged heroes around that. That's so hard for Churnwalker to try and deal with. He excels much better going against melee-heavy compositions. Obviously, the mechanics might be a little bit of a deficit if you're on the side of Team GG, but you know what? They just need to keep their composure together and step it up big time.
Liner may be in trouble here. Level 1 burning, Flask popped. Solitude wants the Spitfire for the first blood, and he'll get it. And that is just how much damage a Surf can do, and immediately moving into the enemy jungle to steal away that.
Yeah, it's going to be a great invade by the side of SLY. Team GG. It's so hard when you lose such a game so brutally like you do in that game number 1. It's so hard to kind of keep your composure. People get frustrated. I mean, that's just the nature of competing. It happens though, but it's these best teams that when they are in this situation, they can find their footing, hold their ground, and make a comeback. Team GG looking to get a little bit aggressive here.
Yeah, another kill goes over, but this time too, Team GG able to pick up the Lorelei here. Solicitude on this rainbow scarf, looking about as colorful as you can with both the orbs, the buffs here. And it all comes down to the style that Team GG adapts when they invade. They send 4 members in to force the invade onto the crystal buff. Looking like they might lose another one here as Reza on this support role. Ooh, just about gets away. IRM Power, actually, he's in trouble. Looks like he should go down as well. Another kill coming over to SLY.
Yeah, SLY having control of both of those weapon buffs from their early game rotation. So hard to run away from that. The slow that comes with the weapon buff, such a strong advantage in these early game before people have their boots online. Team GG already starting. They're almost down 2k gold at just 3 minutes into the game. SLY continuing to apply this jungle pressure. Team GG, it's looking pretty bleak at this point.
Yeah, bleak is probably the best word for it here. Sneaky trying his best to defend the Crystal Treant, but what he is able to do is to defend those backs, the double bears, which means that it's more golden experience denied. Now Reza VG gonna get rooted on up and taken on down. Maybe they pick up Safan too, but nope, doesn't look like they're able to, as he is able to escape the turret immediately. SLY moving back into the red side jungle to continue this oppression.
Jungle Flicker has absolutely exploded into this meta. It's so tanky. The amount of utility on it with so many of these new items, super effective.
Liner. I mean, Liner tries to 1v3 and fails. Does lose his life. Now, this invade continuing to do work as Solicitude is just doing so much damage on the backline. Pops the boots, trying to escape this damage, trying to pick up the Gold Oak with the Spitfire, and they're able to. And there's just nothing Team GG can do. With these slows coming through from Sneaky, they just continue to run away scot-free and picking up a huge gold lead as they do so.
Reza VG, not the timing you wanted on that Torment, my friend. Solicitude should have died there, but the Torment actually completely saved him. It flipped him to the other side of the fight, allowed him to pop his boots activation and get out of dodge. Definitely something that I think Reza VG wishes he could have back. You don't want to just use it for damage. You want to use it to make sure you're securing those kills. SLY still looking very strong here in game number 2.
I love how much damage Scarf is able to output, and when you don't fear the Maline, you know, hero that's obviously very good at just bursting down these slightly immobile, squishy mages like a Scarf usually is, then you just are so dominant. Solicitude already with 3 kills on a little bit more of a conventional pick here, hitting level 6 as well, can unlock his ultimate if he wishes to, and it just feels like Team GG don't really have it in their tool belt to stop this this rampage that SLY continuously are building.
SLY are on a massive rampage. Lorelei, great boots by Sneaky to get out of what would have been a 4-on-1 there in that bot lane. Solicitude, though, he is scaling so quickly.
The damage is unreal. Looks like it's just going to be kills for SLY here as that Scarf ultimate burns for a triple kill. Solicitude, doesn't matter what you put him on, he's going to find the kills.
Yeah, Solicitude has looked great in both of these games now. Biggest thing I'd like to see from SLY is a Ghost Wing capture right now. We'll see if they recognize it. Yep, I think that's great. That was definitely the biggest area of opportunity I think they could have improved on in that game. Number one is just making sure they have quick rotations on these pivotal objectives. Vox still going to be applying pressure onto that Arden and that first turret in the top lane. And with Ghost Wing capture, Crack's going to be able to dive underneath that tier 1 turret.
Yeah, he's looking for the kill here, and one more auto attack does the trick. I mean, oh, we've got a turret bug? I haven't seen that for a while. That's a little bit unfortunate for Iran Power, as clearly the laser is saying that it should be firing at Cracks and it isn't.
Feels bad, man. Crack's doing whatever he wants underneath that turret right now. That's yeah, that's a freebie that I guess probably should happen. It's gonna drop a shot there towards the end of it.
It's not game ending. Like, if this game was closer, then it's definitely a lot more feels bad, man. At this point, though, it just feels like for Team GG, you know, they're up against a rock in a hard place, and someone swung a hammer at them whilst it's happening. That's just really unfortunate.
They've been wounded. SLY in that turret, rubbing some salt in it. Definitely doesn't feel good. But yeah, I mean, like you said, is that really going to change the outcome of the game or impact the game whatsoever? At this point, no, probably not. SLY already has a massive 6-7K gold lead. Solicitude getting aggressive.
He's going to get this kill onto Reza, and I wonder what's going to happen next. Like, Safantu onto Liner, Aces High can't save you, Draxmage in trouble, the bada boom to escape this Scarf dominance. But now this turret was going to get melted, and probably Gwen's health bar as we speak. There it is, the slow. There it is, the auto attacks. You can't escape this. Solicitude with his, I can't even count, 8th kill of the game.
Solicitude. These mechanics, both of these games have been insane.
Oh, wow. Keys, BM there, still in that 9th kill. But, I mean, a kill's a kill. It's all good. Kill secured here. Solicitude's in trouble. Oh, the burst. You're seeing it from this Maleen, but Sneaky with the big boy save with that water war is going to lose his life eventually, but they're going to turn this around, find 2 kills on the back of it. Reza VG, he's only just respawned and he wants to, you know, not die again. This Gold Oak will go down. It is going to be secured by SLY. Nothing that Team GG can do about it.
Solicitude throwing away the perfect game. Feels bad, man, but he continues to scale. He's got the Spellfire online, the Clockworks online. He's probably going to look for a Broken Myth next, but honestly, he's so far ahead. If he wants to go for another damage-heavy item, he can definitely do so, like a Dragon's Eye, like a Shadowglass. Cracks and Keys, though, in this top lane, aggressing on Iran Power. I think he's done.
Yeah, this time the turret's firing at Cracks, but it's not going to matter because Iran Power, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Keys tanks it up a little bit more, but eventually they find the kill here, and Cracks will walk away fairly alive there. And they can turn back their attention and make sure this turret loses its life as well.
Turrets, and more turrets. They are dropping like flies at this point. I think that SLY probably could have secured that bottom lane tier 1 turret. Once you really get these turrets, it allows much more room and opportunity for map control.
What happened? I'm sorry, Liner. You just disappeared on me. 1 Spitfire, 1 Goop, and good night, Maleen.
The tier 3 turret in the top lane going down to SLY. They were completely uncontested during that sequence. May Sam in a little bit of trouble. Cracks and Safantu both very low. They need to try and kite out of here if they can.
Oh, Cracks might lose his... Oh, that's such a nice combo. Bada boom into Gauntlet, but they still haven't taken down Cracks. They have to pull Liner in to make sure the job gets done. It does look like the Ghost Wing will get secured. If only it was secured half a second earlier. Imagine that shield. Whew, could have saved his life.
That barrier may have allowed for Cracks to create a little bit of a highlight reel, but yeah, with the side of Team GG having to respond to that top lane pressure, a lot of opportunity for SLY to secure Ghost Swing.
It's not safe to go alone, Maysam. Solicitude's on the hunt, looking for more, looking for everything in this game. Triple kill, looking for the quadra kill, finds the quadra kill. Only Liner left alive, and Solicitude says, "Dive, I want the pinner!" But his team's not gonna do it. Feels bad, man, SLY. You've let the team down. Solicitude deserves a pinner.
15 kills at 11 minutes. We rarely see 15 kills on a hero, period. I mean, we did have the insane marathon match yesterday, 67 kills. I would be really curious to see like what the all-time high kill score games are in Vainglory competitive play, but SLY, absolutely relentless. Team GG putting up a fight, I guess. I don't know if these are fights they want to take, but Cracks, he's continuing to pressure this top lane.
Press with the breaking point, already stacked all the way up due to Iran Power's positioning. And there's nothing you can do to save this armory. It's going down, whether you like it or not. And SLY just start taking the Vein Crystal whilst they're at it, while Solicitude fights in the mid lane. They don't even care about having a team to save them because Liner's dead. Oh my goodness, it wasn't Liner, but they pick up the kill onto Drax Mage. Now Reza comes in and loses his life immediately. Cracks the Vein Crystal defenses, doing its job. Does finally take down a kill. Here comes Solicitude to finish the job. The Dragon's Breath to burn Maysam alive to a crisp. Well done. And the double with the Spitfire group on the Sanctuary. Nothing more to be said. This is game 2 for SLY.
Feels bad, man. Huge kudos to SLY. They played that incredibly well. Once they build their lead, they continue to exert insane aggression. Cleaner in game 1, definitely one of the faster games we've seen. Hats off to SLY. Definitely looking forward to seeing this team go further in this tournament.
Yeah, through to the quarterfinals with that victory over Team GG. And they are feeling good about it. About as clean as it gets, and you had some fun whilst you're at it. Solicitude building up that montage highlight reel as he does so. In fact, I'm pretty sure every kill was a highlight. Either way, that is it. Let's throw it back to the desk to break.